Welcome everybody to Geekvice episode 200!
Whoa!
Proving any vice with enough geek can become a virtue. My name's Morph. That man's Kip. Good evening, Kip.
Good evening.
We are back for another episode of Geekvice, and we have reached the pinnacle of all things. We have reached episode 200. It is amazing.
It's totally amazing. Can you imagine when we started this? 2013?
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy cow. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, exactly. It is impressive that we have, when we started this thing, I never in my wildest imaginations thought we would hit episode 200. Let alone have the number of listeners that we have, so I think it's cool. We're going to keep moving forward and keep making great content and more content and newer content, and maybe one day another episode of Holly's World will be up too, so you can listen to that as well.
Oh yeah, I've already given her a hard time about that tonight, so.
And then also, so since we're at episode 200, I was thinking about this. I'm going to put a shout out for anyone who has any freelance graphic designer who would like to update our logo. Anyone who would like some free advertisement on our podcast, let us know, and we can work some things out in trade. I'd like to. I mean, Kip and I both have talked about updating our logo. Neither one of us are artsy enough to. Well, I mean, you see what we came up with now. So if somebody's got a great idea, or even like intro music for us, Kip made the intro music because he's awesome. But I'm sure there's talented people out there that listen to this that think they could do better. So send it our way, and we'll give you
the intro music, I used some music app that had pre-canned stuff on there, and I just pasted it together. So saying it's awesome is probably not the right word for it.
Fair enough. But yeah, I know that there's talented people out there that listen to our podcast, and so if you've got any ideas or you want to try something out, put it together, send it our way, and if it's good, we'll use it. And I mean, come on, if it's better than what we got, we'll use it. How about that?
Works for me.
Set the bar low here, guys. Excuse me, I got hiccups. So first thing on the agenda tonight, little D&D update, because we were playing. You played Dungeons and Dragons twice since the last time we recorded, right?
Yes, I have.
So, do tell, pretty sure. I've missed the last couple because of kids' soccer games, so I don't even know what's going on, other than the random post to Facebook that I see every once in a while.
Well, we finally cleared that damn castle out. Finally.
That's good. So even like the full tower and the even back down into the basement and everything?
Yes. I think our DM even got tired of the castle, so he kind of helped us through. Gave us hints like, you've missed something, you might want to backtrack and stuff like that. So we did some things. We backtracked, and then we ended up finding a letter that somebody had written to one of the bad guys that's on V's list. And in there it says what their plan is, which is they're going to take the treasure to this town and then load it on giants, and then they're going to go somewhere else. And they got there through this portal in the castle, and thankfully they left the password for the portal in the letter. So we were able to use the portal and go to this town. What we thought was a town. We got there, and it's a hunting lodge.
Okay.
So, we decide it's like tree lined and all this other stuff. There's a couple outbuildings and then a great big lodge. And then we decided, in our infinite wisdom, to keep half the party back in the trees and the other half of the party to sneak around and check things out. Splitting the party always works really well.
Yeah.
So
We seem to do that a lot.
that's the first thing we did was fuck that up. So, we did that, and then these gargoyles jumped down from the top of the building and started fighting. So the people who are really good at fighting are back in the trees. I don't know, 150 feet away. So you imagine how many turns it took to get there.
Right.
So finally got up there and started working on these gargoyles. And this great big troll comes out from one of the outbuildings and asks for the password. And apparently we had seen and heard the series of gestures and the password to safely go through. But of course, none of us wrote it down in the notes. And none of us remembered squat.
Oh, no.
So Joe rolled an intelligence check. She rolled high enough to at least get the hand gesture, but not high enough to get the wording. So she does the hand gesture, and then when it finally gets around back to the troll's turn, he's like, the words, and we're like, oh, fuck, we don't know what the words are. But we did learn from the letter that we found that there's two dragons. There's the good dragon, can't remember its name, and the bad dragon, Tiamat.
Okay.
Which is the one they're worshiping.
Right.
So, just thinking about it's like, it's probably Hail Tiamat, but nobody could remember.
Right.
So, Joe decides to say Hail Tiamat, but in a language the troll doesn't understand to kind of confuse him, in case that isn't the right words to say. So she says that, and he's like, what? So she says it again with more authority, and he's like, wrong, and then the fight is on. And
oh man, I can picture this now, like the calamity of errors that just.
Well, it gets worse. So Sabina fireballs him, which trolls freaking hate fire.
Right.
It actually, unbeknownst to us, inhibited his ability to heal itself.
Yeah.
So that was a good thing for us, a really bad thing for Sabina, because he targeted her and took her down to 0 hit points on one turn.
Oh, man.
He did the same thing to Joe and did a rend on her. Luckily didn't rip her in half, just shredded her pretty hard. She was down to only 2 of her life points left. We got into the life points, and she only had 2 left.
Oh, jeez.
One more hit, she would have had to come back as the grumpy cleric or whatever it was that she wanted to be.
Oh, man.
It got close. So we eventually, your character, I had it grab Joe by the ankles and pull her out of the fight.
Right.
Because she was just about done. And my character was between Sabina and the troll, hitting him with the axe, and we got him down. And then on my next turn, I noticed that all his wounds were starting to heal up, so I cut his head off.
Nice.
Took care of that. So that was how the last one ended. And then the whole time I'm thinking, what if hell Tiamat was right, and if she would have just said it in common, we wouldn't have had to fight this troll. So when I got home, sent a message to our DM saying, by the way, if you can tell me what was the password, and he's like, you guys were close. If she just would have said it in common, you would have avoided the fight. It's like, damn it, I knew it.
Oh
We got to
man.
trust ourselves, and we didn't.
Yeah.
But so we're at the steps of this hunting lodge, and we did a short rest because we had to, because we had two people that were just about toast.
Right.
And it was getting late. And I asked Brad, it's like, if I open this door, will we be done in an hour or less? And he's like, no. So I was like, all right, we're done for the night. So the next time we get together, apparently what's on the other side of that door is bad news.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what did you miss? The first one you missed, we fought Evil Legolas.
Right.
Almost died. V almost died. Joe almost died. And your character almost died. But we got through it. But Evil Legolas escaped. We did a long rest. Searched the damn castle again. Found the letter. Went to the hunting lodge. That's pretty much all you missed, except for three of us leveled up. And you're 600 points away.
Okay.
So probably after the next time you show up, you'll probably earn enough, especially if you show up for the major battle.
Well,
in
which
the
I don't
lodge.
think I will, because I think you guys are getting together this weekend, aren't you?
Well, I need to find that out because we left it as they needed to talk to some family members to see if it was even possible, and I have not heard.
Yeah, because I'll be out of town. I go out of town on Friday, going to Colorado, and I won't be back until Tuesday. So.
Yeah. It's planned for this It was talked about doing that this Saturday, but haven't heard. I got to thinking about it. I guess it's kind of unfair for the bad guys that we ended it there, so we had time to think about it. But hatching a plan to where we trap the door. We put something on the door.
Yeah.
That causes some damage. And here's my idea. There's two sets of doors. You walk in one set, there's like a foyer.
Mm-hmm.
Then you walk in the other set, and that's where the big room is. So we're going to have her little dragon fly through around the windows and see what she can see inside, because I have a feeling it's like a big open space.
Right.
And if it is, and it's loaded with bad guys, here's my plan. V opens the door, chucks in the head of the troll, and then just shuts the door. And then we're going to take either like one of those exploding beads that Sabina has, or cloud of daggers or something in the doorway, and just go outside and wait for them to show up. So, leading them into a trap. We've never tried any of this stuff. We've totally messed things up when we do, so we'll have to see how it goes.
Right. Yeah, that's I mean, it kind of sounds like a good plan. Yeah, man, that's kind of crazy.
Well, her exploding bead is it's like casting fireball.
Yeah.
And it does like, what was it, like 5d8s or something like that of damage?
Something like that.
So if we could place it properly where the foyer gets as many people in there as possible before they trigger it, that would be freaking awesome. But I don't know. We'll have to see if we can get it done.
Yeah, and it'd be kind of cool if you could set that up as like, if you've got the door closed, and then you can set that bead so that it like is hanging or something from the door, so that when somebody opens it, it drops it and it can explode. I don't know if those beads or just like a contact explosion, or if it's more like you have to, um, it requires somebody to actually throw it and say like an incantation or something. I don't know how those work. So
I don't know either. I thought I would ask our DM when the time came because I don't want to give him any advanced warning. I
right,
just want to talk to him just before. It's like, if somebody steps on it, will it go off?
yeah,
Because to me, it'd be one of those things, in a frenzy, running out the door to attack the people that took the head off of their guard troll. They may not notice a little bead on the floor and somebody steps on it.
right, right. No, that's a good idea.
But we'll have to see. I mean, the plan in theory sounds like it would be okay. Um, but we have ways of messing even the simplest things up. So I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I
So
know
you
that
missed 2 weeks,
feeling.
but really you only missed two battles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
So
And we had been pretty good about people not taking a lot of damage, except for Joe, of course, who doesn't have
right.
that many hit points. But that was a lot of people down to zero.
Yeah, that's a little scary when you're sending me those texts that we had that many people down to zero and in that battling evil Legolas. That was a little scary because I'm like, oh man, there is a really good chance that like this could just be a TPK,
Yeah.
or even if it's not a complete party kill, it's you know if you lose two or three, hell, even losing one, you can somebody can come back from it, you can write it into the story and whatever, but losing multiple kind of, can you even just keep going? You know what I mean? It's like, do you have to start
Yeah.
over now? So,
And it, it's something we would have had to, because we were down.
yeah.
I mean, it was hilarious to see Sabina get down to zero. You know how well Holly takes being attacked.
Oh, yeah. I can only imagine how freaked out she was.
She actually took it pretty well. I think it didn't, a full round didn't take place after she went down to zero. Then it got to, I think, I can't remember if V did the killing blow or not, but it she got it was his turn at the top of the round, and then the rest of us got to go after that, and
Mm,
he didn't make it through, thankfully.
yeah, that's good.
He's giant troll with 4 arms, so he didn't have like a high AC,
Right.
thankfully. Yeah.
So everybody's making contact anyway.
Yeah, so he went down and had to cut his head off, but it was hilarious. The funny part about it is Joe lost most of her point when the gargoyles came down, because
Yeah.
we're over 100 feet away, and the gargoyles, two of them came down and surrounded her and just started beating her up, and nothing we could do about it because we were too far away.
Right. Right.
So, typical the way our party works, we made uh, an error in judgment and almost got one of our people killed.
Yeah, that's par for the course for our group of no namers.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? We will all have nice battle scars, and look like adventurers when it's all over with.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
But it's a good time, and I can't wait to get you back.
Yeah, we need to get through these holidays so that I got some more free time and maybe a few less soccer games. So, or at least just have the schedule ahead of time. That's kind of the big thing right now. My youngest one is moved up to a more competitive team, which is really good for him. He's learning a lot in just the last couple weeks, but it also meant that I didn't have his schedule. So it was like, as soon as I got his schedule, then I started. Well, I still don't have his schedule after the first of the year, so
Yeah.
I have to see what happens. But The other thing that we had, you went and saw, this Star Wars movie or something. There's like some like famous Star Wars. I don't really know. What is this? The Last Jedi? The Last Jedi? Is
The
it like a
Last
Yeti?
Jedi.
Um,
Yeah, I did. And here's the thing about it. I didn't read any reviews or watch any video reviews of it or anything like that, but I had watched reactions of the movie on Twitter,
mm-hmm.
and it was kind of funny. Some people were like, that I would expect to say they loved it, loved it.
Right.
It's like, well, I know you people. I know how Star Wars centric you are. You saying you love it, that's really shooting fish in a barrel,
Right.
honestly. And then I read some reactions from people that I only know through Twitter. I don't know them personally, and they were less than impressed with it.
Oh.
So going in, hate to say it, my excitement level was pretty low. We had bought the tickets in advance when, it was like, yes, Star Wars, this is going to be awesome. And then when Saturday came, and it's like, yeah, I guess we have tickets. We should go watch the movie. But I'm happy to say I freaking loved the movie. I'm just going to get that just out of the way. Other than the original Star Wars, Episode 4, A New Hope, this is my favorite Star Wars movie.
Wow.
Um, yes, there were some parts in there that I could have done without. Maybe even some characters that didn't seem to do anything for the plot, but maybe it's Star Wars. I think everybody ends up with an important part to play eventually.
Right.
Um, there's a scene with Leia that's kind of Mary Poppins ish that you roll your eyes at. But other than that, I thought the movie was well done, and I liked where they're going with it. So, I don't know. Did you want to ask me any questions about it? I'm trying not to spoil it, but I'm also trying to tell you what I know.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, the movie's only been out for less than a week now, so we're gonna
Yeah.
try to keep it as spoiler free as possible. But um, in the without spoiling it too much, what I have heard is that this kind of provides a sense of almost closure to the original, kind of that passing of the torch thing. Do you think that's a from the way this movie's played out, do you think that is a good thing or a bad thing?
That is a damn good question. I think it's a thing. I don't know if it's good or bad. I think it works great for the where I think the story's going to go. Um, it's like anything else. You have to have a plan of succession. Nobody lives forever, kind of thing.
Right.
So as far as that goes, I think they did a really good job with that. Um, you know, in episode 7, I did not. Yeah, 7. This was 8, right? Yeah, so
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
I didn't want Han Solo to die.
Right.
Could have done without that. Um, things happen in this movie where you're like, I understand why. I don't have to be happy about it, but I understand why, and it did not ruin the movie for me.
Yeah.
But the passing of the torch I felt was necessary. Um, just maybe people were hoping it was going to happen in episode 9 instead of 8. But I think it leaves 9 open for the youngsters, to be
Right.
honest with you. So I'll
Yeah,
just put it that way.
it's definitely interesting with what they're doing with it, and I haven't seen it yet. I'm planning on seeing it, but I probably won't see it till after the holidays are over. or at least after I get back from Colorado. So,
Yeah.
um, because my oldest one, Reese, wants to see it, so there's a chance that I end up taking him and go seeing that in the theater after Christmas. So while he's still on winter break from school.
That'd be
So
cool.
we'll
I'll
see.
probably have seen it a second time by the time you see it your first time, but
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
So here in a
I liked
couple
it enough. I
weeks,
will pay to see it again,
that's
and I
good.
will.
That's good. And here in a couple
Um,
weeks, if when I do finally get to see it, we'll kind of do a little bit more a spoilery episode where you can talk a little bit more in depth of it and where we think it could go and what do we actually take from the movie itself. But right now, with it being so new, we want to keep this pretty
Spoiler free.
spoiler
Yep.
free.
What I will say though is Chewie is like a father figure now. It's
Oh,
kind of funny to watch. When you're watching it, it's like, hey, it's Chewbacca. He's doing this, he's doing that, and then after it's over with, you realize he's kind of the dad in this one. It's kind of funny, but
that is
I was
funny.
good with it. I was good with it. You know, there was one disappointment, I guess is the best way to put it. In the commercial, the last trailer I saw for it, there's kind of a Darth Vader looking BB-8.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't go with that where I thought it was going to go.
Okay.
I'll just say that. I expected them to do something more with it, especially showing it in the trailer. It's like, oh, this could be something, and then it ended up being minor. Major to the plot, but minor for that character. It was like, oh, it did that, and now we'll never see it again.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So like the normal type stuff. No, that's good. Um,
Well, I thought they'd really push it, because you could sell toys.
yeah, exactly. Use it as a toy marketing type thing.
Yeah, but maybe they just thought the little bit it was on screen would be enough to sell that toy.
You never
Um,
know.
but no. Um, the interaction between Ray and Kylo Ren, fan freaking tastic.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to see where they take this in the future. I have a guess, but we'll see where it goes. Um, I also have a pretty good guess on who her parents might be,
Interesting.
based on, I guess, silence speaking the loudest.
Mm-hmm.
The only big name in the entire series that hasn't shown up in the last two movies,
Yeah.
I'm thinking is her parents,
Interesting.
or at
Interesting.
least her father.
Yeah.
Could be an unknown mother kind of thing. Um, there's a scene where Kylo Ren tells her he knows who her parents are, and then he says something. I don't think he told her the truth. I think he tried to do it to make her feel unworthy. I think it's a smokescreen, and I honestly think she's a Kenobi.
Very possible.
He's the only. That's the only name that hasn't shown up
Yeah.
in these two movies. So why not it be her as the name?
Sure. Sure.
So
No, that would.
that's my theory. That
No.
doesn't give anything away in episode 8.
Right.
It's just my theory. It's like, you know, even Yoda shows up in this one for crying out loud.
Nice.
So you
That's cool.
figured old Ben would have just as much of an influence on Luke or anybody else as Yoda,
Right.
but apparently not.
Yeah.
So that's what makes me think she's a Kenobi.
Very possible.
Yeah. We'll see if I'm right. I'm
Yeah.
usually never right about these things, so I'm sure I'm way off base, but
Well, and we only have about what, like 6 months or so, and then we have the Han Solo movie is supposed to be coming out.
which I'm excited for.
So that'll be kind of cool. I like that they're doing some spin-off type stuff and
And
some
I like
kind
the
of,
kid they cast for the
yeah.
young Han Solo. I saw him in Beautiful Creatures, and I thought he stole that movie. I thought he was fantastic. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how he does this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think Star Wars is headed in a good direction. I think it's heading in a necessary direction for that to keep going, and you know, maybe Disney's the right people to have on it. I don't know.
I don't
It's
know.
it,
The people that complained, a lot of those people complain that it doesn't follow Skywalker canon,
but
but I'm not sure they were required to.
yeah, that's
I
that's
don't
kind of
know
my
what
thing too.
Skywalker canon is. I didn't read any of the. I have a hard time reading the books.
Well,
it
and
They feel forced, no pun intended, but I don't like the books.
yeah,
So I've never really got into the canon outside the movie. So maybe
well,
that's why it doesn't bug me.
I think you also have a little bit of the problem of just that the there are so many there for the longest time. Lucasfilms didn't care who put stuff out, or what was there and what wasn't there, and I'm not sure that all of it actually fits together. And so I want to say that the Star Wars canon and universe is as convoluted and messed up as any comic book
That
universe.
was my impression of it all, from based on the as many comics and as many book series they are that are out.
Yeah.
I kind of figured this thing has branched off and gone 20 different directions, but like I said, I can't read them. It feels like name dropping, like it's a
Yeah.
book for name dropping.
Yeah. I
I
can
don't know.
understand that.
Anybody that's read the books and you liked them, tell me why, or if you haven't, or if you have read them and didn't like them, I'd like to know that as well, because it's weird to read a book and then every time it talks about a character, it gives them like their full name.
Yeah.
Blah 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 says Luke Skywalker. Yeah, you're name dropping. I get it. You could have just said Luke.
Right.
It's that kind of writing. It just drives me nuts. That's why I never read the books.
Yeah.
Okay, off the soapbox.
Well, and
Sorry.
there might even be some good ones out there that don't have that name dropping feel to it. So be sure to email us at geekvice@gmail.com and let Kip know what books he needs to be reading in the Star Wars pantheon.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe I have just tried to read the wrong ones, and
well,
we'll find out.
and I would also say that along that same comic book line, the idea with comic books, or kind of the mindset that I've always had when it came to whether something was canon or not canon, is whether I enjoyed it or not. If I didn't enjoy a story, it didn't have to happen. You
Yeah.
can every little piece of it kind of works in and of itself to an extent, and so jump from arc to arc to story to put together your own kind of your history, your canon, and I think Star Wars can kind of fit in that same boat.
Yeah. And I understand it. If something comes out in the MCU, and people have a cow because it doesn't follow anything, I understand where their complaints are coming from. It's just, again, I don't care. They're movies. They're allowed to go the direction they want to go.
Right.
As long as they don't go against what the character stands for, I'm fine with the change in canon.
Right.
But I thought this Star Wars movie, everybody held true. They did exactly what you would expect them to do. It just may not have followed a lot of fanboys' expectation of what should go on, but if you look at it for
Right.
what it is, it's a really good movie. I mean, it may be borderline great movie.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to hit pause real quick.
That didn't look good. He made a really funny face there and then took off running. Maybe all my talk about Star Wars upset his stomach. So send some Pepto-Bismol to morph@geekvice.com. No, I don't know. They should never leave me alone with the microphone. This is what happens. But, yeah, go see Star Wars The Last Jedi. It's worth it. Turn off your idea of where you think canon should go because they took their direction and they're going with it. I think they pretty much hinted at it in episode 7. There was even a Rogue One Easter egg in there. Didn't realize it till after the movie, and I read some things like, oh yeah, that did come from Rogue One. Now I got to rewatch Rogue One so I can see that line in all its glory. But yeah, that's the way things go. If you don't memorize every movie, every line, you'll never notice these things happen. And I'm one of those people. Didn't notice it, but that's okay. That's why I have you internet peoples to point out all that stuff so I can go, yeah, that was awesome. I don't remember it, but it was awesome. So keep up the good work. That way I don't feel like I've missed anything. And he's back. You all right?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll just have to. I edited that out, so the stream was still going on, but the podcast part, the audio part, will be okay.
Oh, that's too bad. I kept talking about Star Wars.
Oh, did you? Well, it'll work for the stream. Everyone in the video will get to still hear you. But I'm gonna have to. Yeah. Not feeling so great right now. I think I got whatever bug it is that.
I kind of figured that's what was going on because you got that look on your face and then you took off running. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, I think I know what he's doing. So this is a good time to put a pin in this and let you go take care of yourself.
Yeah. So well, here we'll put the. We're back on the recording for the audio stuff. And we'll go ahead and put a cut in. It's like I'm talking about the stupid like Geekvice gaming episode here. We'll go ahead and put a wrap in this. Be sure before we do that, stay tuned to our page, our Facebook page, along with the podcast arcade. Page. That one. I'm trying to think of the name of it. We've got our special Christmas episode that's going to be coming out here very, very, very soon, and it is awesome. Everybody's going to love it. At least I hope you all love it, because I love it.
It was fun to do.
Yeah, it was fun to put together. So that's not much. There's not a whole lot we can tell you right now, other than it's going to be coming very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. And while you're waiting for that to show up, be sure to check us out on our blog at geekvice.blogspot.com. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/geekvice and YouTube at tiny.cc/geekvice. Be sure to go subscribe, set your notifications on all those websites, and they will let you know when our videos and posts and whatnots go live. And also follow us on Twitter. You can follow that man over there at Kip Killigan, and you can follow me at Geekvice. And of course, you can always email us at geekvice@gmail.com. Thanks everyone for listening to our ramblings, and we will see you next time.
Later.
This podcast is part of the Podcast Arcade Network.